Hey, I'm James.
And I'm Joel from Better Music.
And we have the amazing opportunity and pleasure to welcome Benny Greb to Australia.
Woohoo!
And have a beautiful conversation. So thank you very much. We really appreciate your time, Benny.
Thank you very much for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, excellent. What brings you to Australia?
I do a clinic tour at the moment. I think it started from the Ultimate Drummers weekend, and then we built a couple of dates around it. And I haven't been here in quite a while. I think it's almost 10 years or something. And so, yeah. And I've never been here.
Okay.
And I always was in Melbourne. Always. I only was in Melbourne. And then I think did something in New Zealand like a decade ago. So it was a chance to hang a little bit more here.
Great. Well, thank you very much for stopping in Canberra for us.
Big pleasure. Sorry for my travelling pants. But
we should just say Benny has flown in recently to Australia, and he's been basically moving from a different city every single night and playing a different city every night. Well, Benny, look, we thought we might sit down with you for a few minutes and just have a bit of a conversation, in particular about how to develop your own sound, how to develop a style, and how to develop feel on the drums. And James and I both think of you as a drummer who's definitely got a sound.
it's definitely a sound. That's true.
And it's an amazing sound.
Oh, thank you.
And obviously, in your 2 DVDs, so Benny has 2 DVDs which we highly recommend. We highly recommend The Language of Drumming and also The Art and Science of Groove. And in both of those DVDs...
Can I add, nowadays you have to say to the people out there that it's, yes, I know some of you have modern laptops and no DVD players, so that it's always also available as digital downloads. I even have now a USB stick for the Art and Science of Groove. So there are other mediums available. I'm sorry, go on.
So if anyone out there doesn't even know what a DVD player is, it is available digital download. And we'd really strongly encourage you to check that out because that's 2 of the best educational drumming DVDs we've seen.
Thank you. Well, is the next step to place DVD drives there as well? It's kind of an attic of history.
We'll have a go at that.
Okay.
And obviously on those 2, you did spend a pretty considerable portion of your time talking about how to develop a sound, how to get different sounds out of a drum kit, how to develop your time feel, how to develop groove. So maybe if we start with a broad question, which is, do you think it's important for drummers to develop a sound on the drums?
Oh yeah, I mean, and you do it whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
It's like one of these things like gravity. It is there, whether you're aware of it or not, or whether you think you believe in it, or if you jump out of a building, when you think like, I don't believe in gravity, and you will get the result, whether you like it or not. And so sometimes we drummers think a lot about repertoire and what to play, but it will sound a certain way. Of course, with the equipment, that's of course your field. Of course, like what equipment do you choose? What drum heads do you choose? But there is also a lot to be said about like what a drummer can do, and we've all heard it. Like we've all heard a cheap drum kit sound, or an affordable drum kit is a more nicer way to say it.
That's how we like to say it. Yep.
Yeah, but there are like drum kits out there when you play them like with new heads and you play them nicely, they sound amazing.
Good.
And when someone buys a very expensive kit and doesn't know how to tune, but let's stay at the playing and just like the way he hits it and the way it's balanced or not balanced, like it sounds not so good. So it is something that I think it's really worth focusing on because it will make you sound you better on any drum set and in any room and in any style, So of course gear is important, what you play is important, repertoire is important. And the other way of thinking about it is that it's a part of technique. So we think of technique enabling us to do certain phrases and figures and stickings, but technique is a big part of technique is like, how does that sound? Is there very much flesh on the stick, and do you dampen the stick? Is it a more dry, or is it more open, or do you allow more rebound? And
drawing that sound out of the drums.
Yeah, and it's a huge difference. I do these drum camps like every once in a while, and then we usually do these things where everyone kind of plays on the same kit, and it's like, okay, next, and we and it's amazing how different it sounds. It's almost like it's unbelievable, really. So everyone has their own sound. To answer the question, the question is like, is it the sound that you like? And I would recommend to record yourself a lot. Can even be with an iPhone, and really take it seriously. So if you record with an iPhone or any other manufacturer, let it be a Samsung or whatever you want, but when you record with your phone, then you have these two pills, like in Matrix, right? You can choose the red pill or the blue pill. You can either say like, yeah, it doesn't sound that great, like, nah, anyway, because it's the phone.
Yeah.
It's like, or you can say like, the cymbals are very loud and I only hear so I'll try to play the cymbals very quieter to make it sound great on this thingy. So, and when it sounds great on a phone, it will sound amazing everywhere else. Wow. So I mean, of course, if you place the phone like underneath the snare basket, like to get a balanced sound is very difficult. But if you place the phone like just like 3 meters away from the drums, like on a chair or something like that, that is a great position to have a good reference for like, are the cymbals too loud? Usually they are. Is the snare drum too loud? Usually it is. The deep floor tom is quieter than this one, so what do I have to do? So to really work on that, and I think that's a very forgotten art in a sense. Like guys like Steve Gadd or something are that great because they sound amazing without someone having to fix it in the mix, so to speak. And that's what sometimes maybe younger drummers forget about when they say like, I don't know what the big deal is about those guys, you know? It's like, nah, well, if they sit in a room, it's done. You know, you have 2 overheads and it's done. Sorry, that was a very long answer, but
but basically, we should own the way we sound. Own it. Don't take the red pill and deny it and blame something else.
Right.
Take ownership over the way you sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where the fun begins to really be like,
Yes.
So why is that different then?
Yes.
You know,
Yes. Great.
And with other like aspects of recording, your DVDs sound fantastic. Your albums sound great. Your playing always sounds brilliant. What do you look for in recording in a drum room? And what aspects are you involved with personally?
I'm very involved. Some people would call that I'm a control freak.
It does look that way. Yeah. Well, not the control freak part, but just the consistency of the sound. Because who's ever heard Benny sound bad?
Thank you.
And you seem to have a real taste. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No.
You seem to have a real taste for quite live sounding rooms. When we hear your drums, we have what everyone loves, which is that direct, punchy, in-your-face sound of a close mic'd kit. But then the power and the air of a room and the way the drums are interacting with a room. And somehow, Art and Science of Groove, the Sonor signature snare drum video you did with Sonor, everything you've done with Meinl, Couscous, and all of that series you did with Meinl.
Thank you. Wow, you did your research.
Well, but just that everybody knows that anyone, the obligatory floor tom comments go wild on the internet. So we've come to know that as your sound, and somehow you've nailed that. So what are you thinking about, and what's most important to you?
It's all triggers. No, I'm just kidding. Of course. No, I recently got a call. It's like, hey, recording session, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't have time. I'm sorry. And they're like, no, it's okay. And I'm like, what? And they were like, no, we have a drummer but we want you to send, if you could tune your floor tom like you do, you send us your floor tom. They just wanted to have the floor tom. I said no. But that's about the floor. No, so yes, there are a couple of recordings that are a little bit drier. Like there's this Moving Parts studio album that is pretty like dry. I have to give some credit to Sven Pix, which is my favorite sound engineer that basically does everything with me, or the other way around. Whenever I have a say in the production, even with other artists, whenever I can say something about how it's being done, Sven will be involved in it. So Sven did from the DVDs over Dreiergitzimer Brass Band, Grapefruit to like moving parts. Like he's a live mixer of moving parts. He does the Meinl stuff. He did the Modern Drummer Festival. So he's always involved, and I learned a lot from him. He probably nothing from me, but it's so it's a great relationship. But no, he's an absolute awesome guy, and yeah, I owe that a lot to him too. But we can also almost make any room sound like that as soon as we have a couple of direct mics, and then a couple of room mics that we just compress to the wall, and then just feed like a little bit down there. A little trick that we use is to have it's called a Sennheiser MD21, if I'm not mistaken. It looks like a shaver, like an I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about, but people told me it looks like a shaver. But so, and it's a unique thingy because it's an omnidirectional dynamic mic. So it's the only one I've heard of actually, but in the comment section probably there are many examples of those mics, but it's the first one that I heard of, and we placed that in like a cowbell bass drum position, where like it's this gray thingy. You sometimes see it on photos, and we absolutely compress and distort that, and it's basically, I don't have a snare drum bottom mic, never. I don't have a hi-hat microphone, never. And this is kind of it kind of glues the sound a little bit together. We could talk about that for hours too. But these are just some little things that are part of my sound. I play the cymbals quite quietly. Yeah.
And your Sand series of cymbals is a reasonably quiet or quieter set of cymbals. Not that they can't go loud, but they're fairly buttery. Yeah. They're not really bright and shimmery because they have that matte sort of a finish. So
they can go loud, but I'm sorry I interrupted you now. Sorry.
Anytime.
They can go loud, but they're not that harsh.
Yeah.
So they can, when you hit the right cymbal, it's more a whoosh instead of a it's like it doesn't cut your head open. So I mean, of course, all of that aesthetic and this trying around stuff went into those signature instruments big time. I tried around a lot. I set cymbals on fire, I buried them in the garden, I put them in the oven.
Did you ever put like sea water and sand on them? Because I see, anyway.
I grinded them. Yeah. I put hairspray on them.
Yeah, right on.
So, So I tried around a lot, and that's then usually, like any signature product that I have is usually the end product of also many failed attempts, but
I understand.
Yeah, that's all part of it, and it's beautiful, and it's never ending. I always find out something new with Svenny, and but I have something that where I can also say like, I know how to get there fast, and I'm happy with it. But there's always some room for improvement.
So you're playing. Does it change when you're playing in the studio versus playing live? What aspects change, or what is similar?
I would like to say that hopefully it doesn't change, like for both worlds actually, because the tendency is for people to somehow have this feeling of like, live it doesn't matter that much,
or I'm just gonna bash because I'm in front of all these people.
Right, which is not, a little bit illogical, because you also have microphones on the kit. Why would that be different? Because in the studio you can also play very loud if you want to. So why do you sometimes not do it? Because the bass goes away, because the snare drum chokes, or whatever. So why does that not apply live then anymore? And I mean, everyone records so much now, and you record live shows and stuff. So why wouldn't you want to get the best sound there too? And the vice versa, in the studio, sometimes people play very disciplined and maybe too stiff because they have a click in their ears, and then they miss the energy of live. Like, no, I want to have the live energy in the studio as well. I want to take a couple of risks. I want to really go for it and capture something nice. and not like sit there like I'm doing working in a postal office or something.
So it's got to be a performance, even
Yeah.
when you're in the studio.
Yeah,
That
and it's
people
got to be
will-
a take if possible. But it depends upon the music. I'm now on this album from Mark Forster. He's a German hip hop artist. That's of course like, you know, more
on the
loop
Greb,
character.
yeah.
So yeah, it's hard to do that. But I try to have the qualities that people think are in the studio more. I try to not lose them live.
Yeah.
And the qualities that people think like are only live, I try to not lose them in the studio. I would say it like that.
Great answer.
Yeah, excellent answer.
Thank you.
Can we just talk briefly about your drums? I mean, it's almost impossible to ask a question like this without it sounding like a plug, but we don't actually mean it as a plug. What
It's
are you?
okay if you're a music store, I guess.
Yeah. What are you? Obviously, you've been playing Sonor drums ever since you've been in the public eye as a drummer.
Yeah.
I've never seen you on any other drum set. What are you looking for from a drum kit, and why do you keep coming back to Sonor?
I love Sonor drums. I think they make the best shells. I think they are the easiest to tune, and I just know them so well now. It's really a part of my sound that, and you know, let's be honest. Sometimes I'm in Bangladesh and I can't get a Sonor kit, or sometimes like you know, there are always some situations where you just don't get exactly what you want, and I have millions of opportunities to try out other stuff. Like I'm constantly in music stores and I'm constantly like in the music industry, and I know what's kind of going on, but I'm very happy with my setup, and it's they just do something that I need, and that is, for example, like Sonor kits are really drum sets for me. And what I mean by that is that you can make the floor tom sound like a bass drum if you want to. You can make the snare drum sound like a higher tom-tom, for example, when you turn it off. And so you really have a da 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 da. It's all with other companies. You sometimes have bop, da da da. You know, the length of the different drums. You have a tom family maybe that maybe sounds great. You have a snare family, maybe that sounds great. You have a bass drum family, but it's different thingies somehow, and it's not really like it's one animal.
Yes.
And that is actually when we talk about sound, when you then have your headphones on and you hear this drum set, like you can almost see it like in the room. That's when it feels a little bit weird when you have black or the plowing, and it's very high here and this is very bassy, and like it's just weird when it's not like one family. Of sounds. So I think Sonor really has got that down with really every kit that I've played from them, and I love the vintage series. That's my new favorite thingy. It's not the most expensive kit that they have, but it's my absolute favorite. I love it. It's also beechwood. I love my signature snares. I worked long on them. Like we went through many prototypes, and it's really like my work animal that I, as when I have that snare drum, I just know like I can get it into all different, like all the recordings that you hear of me in the last 8 years, really, like it's never been another snare drum. It's all that snare drum. So
and you like to tune your medium high on your primary one and then very low on your second one.
yes, right.
And
I
it's
have
the
two
same
of them.
drum.
Yeah, I have two of them, and one is this sound, and one is this more like timbale. Like when you have the snares off, it's more this timbales kind of sound. But you with a couple of turns, you can get it into different. There will be some videos coming out with Remo soon where I demonstrate a couple of tuning techniques that I use. But yeah, Sonor drums, love it.
All right. Look, maybe we can go to a couple of brief questions. We've had some questions come in from our customers and our Facebook audience. Maybe we can do a few of those briefly, and if we have time, we've got a couple of other questions for the end, only if we have time.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So here we go. First question from our audience in regard to touring. How do you keep yourself up physically and mentally when you're touring?
With my travel pants.
That's all you
That's the secret. You gotta get some good travel pants.
So, for example, right now you're traveling from show to show every night, and you're doing things like this with us in video rooms.
It's a pleasure, honestly.
And you know, how do you keep yourself up physically and mentally? Have you learnt anything in terms of keeping yourself fresh?
No, nothing. Honestly, it sometimes feels like I haven't learned anything in that regard. No, I mean, I gotta say, like, this is a special, it's a great subject for this because, like, Germany to Australia is the most jet lag that you can have. It's the absolute opposite of, like, your day is my night and my night is your day. And it's like, so it's an interesting feeling.
Okay, so what you're really saying is it's just hard work. You want to get up there, you want to put in your best performance, even if you are feeling.
No, I mean, there are a couple of tricks. So, I mean, for example, when you arrive, someone said to me once, like, you take a hot bath, like 5 minutes for every hour of time difference, and then you try to sleep. So there are these couple of, like.
Does it work?
I mean, if I would now like bath like for the time difference that we have, I don't have time for that actually. But no, but I mean, of course, one of the things is honestly, we could now talk about how do I keep myself up physically and mentally. Well, almost both of those things. I mean, physically is clear. The most energy consumption that we have is brain and digestion. Let's be very biological here. So you gotta watch what you eat. You can't be like it's just you have to watch what you eat. You have to drink a lot of water. I don't drink any calories. I want to drink water. And I never drank beer. Like, I don't drink beer. I don't drink coffee. Yeah, I try to watch that a little bit. I'm not like super like strict, but I try to watch that. To go for a run in the morning helps. Although on a tour where I play every day and like I sweat like a, I don't want to say the animal, but like that's enough cardio really. And mentally, I don't want this to sound corny or anything, to practice gratefulness. Because it's very hard to complain when you're really grateful and when you see what a lucky bastard you are. You know, there are many, many reasons to remind yourself. That's basically what we have to do. Like, to not really like make up stuff. No, you just have to remind yourself how stupidly grateful you should be, because it's like, it's ridiculous. I mean, and that's the thing. If you are an artist that travels around and thinks like, oh, I'm gonna do this interview now, like, you gotta really rethink your game, man. I mean, it's such a privilege to fly 22 hours. I mean, think about it, how far away that is from where I grew up and practiced a couple of like single strokes. and then you fly 22 hours, and then there are nice people who say like, hey, we want to ask you a couple of questions. Why that you are even interested in that, and that you are interested in that, is a privilege. And if you lose that, you lose a lot of things. You lose, of course, perspective of like, why should I even sit in a plane? It's hard work. It's like, yeah, of course it's not fun to sit in a plane for that long and to not be able to sleep. but it's so worth it. I mean, are you kidding? It's so worth it. I mean, I can tune new drums every day. I can hang with drummers. Bass players are not there. It's great. No, I like bass players. Don't write messages again. It's fine. It's not a thing I have to take care of. No, but I honestly, there's a ritual I do, and that really keeps me up mentally, to write down 3 things I'm grateful for in the morning. To write down in the evening 3 things I've learned today, and stuff like that. So just basically journaling, you could also call it. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Stuff like that.
Wonderful.
because your focus goes.
Yes.
It can go in different thingies, and of course you can watch cat videos and watch fail videos, and that's great. And I do that too. I love that. I mean, there's nothing better than a home shopping television show where someone falls off the ladder, but but that's okay. But I wanna also have that. You know, I really wanna direct my spotlight, because if you look for what's wrong all the time, that's
You'll
available.
find it.
That's
You'll
available
find
too.
it.
Yeah, your
Absolutely.
your Google search engine
Absolutely.
will find it, and so that's always available. But so is what's good.
Absolutely.
So, and I think there is a certain gravity in your mind because of evolution to survive. Like to always look for, could this be a threat? Could this be dangerous? Could this cause my demise? Could that? So you always like out of fear and being like, what is not right? What could be better? And that's great, and you need that. But there's also a place for what's great and what could be worse. Like this is pretty good, and so come on, let's do more of it.
Well, if you
That's
could
fun.
magically combine 3 drummers
Yeah.
into one Uber drummer,
Yeah.
who would your top 3 be?
Is Uber really a thing? Like yeah? Wow. Like kindergarten. Do you also say kindergarten? Like
Yeah.
Okay, there are some German words
Yeah.
actually. in
Lots
the-
of German words.
Yeah. Okay. I think I would not do that. Actually, I think I would choose to not do it. I mean, I sometimes think like that in my practicing journal. So I try to get qualities from different drummers that I want to have to work on, you know, and or to create a vision that then sparks some ideas for exercises. But I don't want to change Steve Gadd. I'm not crazy, you know. I
Well said.
want him to be exactly that way. I don't want to change Stuart Copeland. I don't want to change Jojo. You could of course take the technique of Jojo and the sound of blah and da da da. But I also like the sound of Jojo, and I like the ideas of Jojo and his biography and everything. So I think it's just a gift to have those guys how they are. And the challenge then is to be like, but you can design yourself. Like you can work on certain things and stop certain things. And so a great question also in my practicing journal, for example, is sometimes every once in a while, it's like, what other things I want to have or do more? 5 things. Great question for you guys. Homework. Second thing, what are some things that, did I say more of now?
Yep.
Great. The next would be, what do I want to do
Do
less?
less of, yeah.
Third is, what do I want to stop completely? Fourth is, what do I want to start completely? So maybe you haven't worked on tuning, right? That's a classic for many people. They tune when they have to change the drum edge. But you can actually like practice it, you know? The next thing is timing stuff, you know? Have you really, like, is that part of your practicing to have a click on the offbeat and to really look into that? And if you make it a frequency thing like that you do every once in a while, it's stupid how easy it is then. You know, if you just go at it every once in a while. So what are those things that you maybe left aside? And what are qualities of other drummers that you love and you want to make your own? I would see it that. Sorry, I dodged the question a little, but that's how it goes.
It's probably even a better answer.
Yes.
All right, we've got this one. If you could play a song blindfolded, what song would it be?
Any song.
That's right.
Who needs
Good
eyes?
answer.
Who needs eyes for drumming?
Good answer.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, maybe just briefly on the Buddy Rich tribute that you did recently. Firstly, how'd you find that experience? And obviously, it looked and sounded fantastic
Thank you.
on your videos on your YouTube channel. Is Buddy an influence? What were you thinking of? How did all that happen?
Yes, Buddy is an influence, but I gotta say, almost more so. I was introduced to that just because of my age and like my access to stuff with these VHS tapes.
Where they slow down and speed up and,
Yeah.
go all wonky.
Yeah,
and
like-
you watch them so many times that
Definitely. I mean, I broke those a couple of times, and So the Buddy Rich Memorial Scholarship concerts with Vinnie
Gad,
Colaiuta,
Weckel.
Greg
Yeah.
Bissonette, Gad, Weckel, Chambers, like it just like blew a couple of my fuses back then when I saw it. I was like, what is that? And it really changed my life. And then there's this black and white footage of this guy, and I'm like, what is that? Are you kidding me? So that was such a hit. It was such a impact that it really changed my life. I really, at that point back then, I played drums before and I had fun with it. But that was the point where I decided three things. I was like, I like this. Really a strong feeling of like, I really like this. That is nice. That is awesome. I want this. Second was, that is not easy. That's not easy at all. I don't know what they're doing. I don't understand a thing, but I like it. And this is a field of tension that's very powerful. If you really want something, but you just don't know how to get there, then you get resourceful and you change your approach and you maybe do something. And that's what it did for me. So, so a big circle closed and I thought for many years of like, how do I get a big band to play these songs with me? And then I asked, like in Germany there are a couple of these broadcasting big bands, and I asked them, and they told me the price, and I said like, okay, I'll do something else then. and then I got this call from these two big bands in England and saying like, hey, is it okay? Like it's only Buddy Rich material, and I'm like,
wow.
I tried to stay cool and be like, yeah, I'll check my
Totally
calendar. But I was so excited, and it was a thrill. It was a gift. It was beautiful. I had to practice because I thought I know the songs, but when I then went in the like played through them, I was like, oh Lord, my right hand feels like the German potato salad right now. So I really had, but what a beautiful challenge and what a great reason to hit the practice room. You know.
Wonderful, fantastic. Did you have one last?
I guess if you have one single piece of advice, because you do a lot of clinics, you do a lot of drum camps.
Yeah.
You see a lot of drummers.
Yeah. What would that be?
For drumming or for life in general?
I'd like to hear more about life in general.
Oh wow. Oh.
Maybe both.
Take a look at this store. They have so nice drums. They have nice drums here. You can die happy if you just. I mean, that is halfway serious. You have to see this store. It's really nice to be.
Thank you, Benny.
But in terms of life, oh my goodness, use your time wisely. It's something that you never get back.
Yes.
We sometimes think in Western civilizations that money is the most important resource, and it's not. You can earn money back easily, but you don't get time back. So you maybe look on your account and you see where your money went, and you organize that and you keep track and stuff. But some of us don't know after when the week is over, like what they did with their free time. Like they have no idea. Sometimes, like on New Year's Eve, it's one of these classics. It's like, hey man, the whole year gone already. You know? It's like wow. So, like, check out that you spend your time wisely and that you replace basically lower value tasks, whatever that means for you, with higher value tasks. So do you really give up your dream of playing a certain way, the drums, let's bring it back to drums, for 3 hours of Instagram and Facebook surfing? Like, is it worth it? Is it really I mean, you're doing it maybe right now, but is it really a trade that you're willing to make consciously? Like, and maybe it is. And that's fine then, but I'm not preaching to say like this is what you gotta do. I'm just saying that sometimes what we want to do and what we value is not what we then actually do. And it's a painful experience actually. And it's the same with people. Like sometimes, you know, when you maybe love people but they don't feel loved, because you don't spend any time with them. You never see them. You never meet them. It's like, well, you know, there is something to it. What about your activities? So where your time goes is basically a reflection of what you value
most.
Yeah.
Wow, well said.
So I would look at that and look at that as a kind of your account, like at the end of the month, be like, So that is something, and the other character building thing, not because it's the most important thing. I think it's a thing that I just when I follow the news and get a little bit depressed, it's one of the things that I think is more up to date than ever. To realize that communication is great, and that you don't have to be right all the time, and that to respect people is not a matter of what they do, it's more a matter of character. Like, I don't respect people for who they are, and they have to earn my respect and all this kind of bullshit that's going on in world politics. But you respect people, hopefully, of who you are.
And
you know,
principle.
because it's a matter of your character, whether you treat people with respect. And it's just a simple thing that seems to be forgotten. Like, it's so great to laugh at things and to judge things and to not listen, and that makes you a very shitty musician right away as well. So if you do that in life and you think, like, that's how you will play as well. So if you stay open, if you stay respectful. So my compass, my simplest compass is to I take the art form of drums and drumming and music. I take that very seriously. I don't take myself very seriously. So I have a balance of, like, I know how many mistakes I make and how many rabbit holes I follow that are then like, nah, that was stupid. And then trial and error, try something else, and then and that sometimes, you know, it's good. Sometimes I have a bad day, and like so. But I love the thing. I love the thing, and I want to respect people. And so when you respect the art form and you respect people, you're pretty professional, because you treat the artist you're working with respect. That means you prepare. That means you don't say, like, yeah, I know much better what to do on that song than you. You wrote that for a year, and it's about your dead friend. You know, it means the world to you. But I have a great gospel shot for that. So when you are halfway respectful, you will have empathy. You will have those. So that's respect the art form, respect other people. Don't take yourself too serious. That's some good advice, I think.
I think that is a fantastic spot to leave it.
Thank you so much, Benny.
Thank you, guys.
Benny, thank you so much.
Big pleasure.
Wonderful.
Hey, can I plug a little bit? Please follow me on Insta. Check my website out. Check out the Insta stuff. I do drum camps. That's all on my website. I'm happy when you step by. What's the thing?
Drop by?
Drop by. Thank you. When you drop by.
Thank you, Benny. Thank you for
so
being
much.
generous with your time. We really appreciate it.
No problem at all.
Thank you.
The travel pants make it possible.
Yeah.